We do want to take you out next to New York, where we're getting an update in the Gilgo Beach murder case. We're hearing from the attorneys of the family of Rex Heuermann, the wife and his children of the suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann. Attorneys stepping up to the podium here and speaking out. Let's listen into this next on Live Now from Fox.
It's okay, I'm fine here.
No, not for everyone else.
Too bad you guys didn't attend the press conference yesterday about that $35 million award.
We'll leave in a minute if we're going to do this. Ready? Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming out. I'm Bob Macedonio. I'm the attorney representing Asa Ellerup. As you're all aware, she's the wife of the Gilgo Beach serial killer suspect. On her behalf, she wanted me to express her thanks for the enormous outpouring of support that she's received in the past several weeks. We've gotten gift cards, care packages, food's been delivered to her house. There's also been a GoFundMe page that's been set up on our behalf, which I'd like to clarify some of the issues with that. The GoFundMe page that's been set up is 100% for the benefit of Asa and her children. This law firm or any associations of us, we take no funds from that. She will receive 100% of the funds from that. The GoFundMe page was set up by Melissa Moore, who is the daughter of the serial killer, the Happy Face killer, who in the late 90s was convicted of killing at least 5 sex workers in the Midwest. She was 16 years old when her father was arrested. She reached out immediately to myself, and we put her in contact with Asa, and they have started the GoFundMe page. Like I said, 100% of the proceeds from that GoFundMe goes to Asa. At this time, Asa has authorized me to relay to everybody that for the past several years, she's been suffering from cancer. She has breast cancer. She also has skin cancer. She's presently under a course of treatment that's going to continue for the next 12 to 18 months. Now, why I bring that up is because her health insurance is due to expire in the next 60 days. The source of her health insurance was from her husband's employer. He was the employee. So when the funds run out in his business accounts, the health insurance will no longer be available for her to treat the cancer. It's going to be the treatment she needs for the next 18 months. That's the big part of it. We did tour the house on Sunday. I was there with my staff and saw the damage that was done and the mess that was left behind when the police did leave. The drain pipes were taken out of the bathroom, that little elbow piece, the traps were taken out of the bathroom sinks as well as the bathroom tubs, so you could not run any of the water. We had a cleanup crew come in with 20-yard dumpsters with 5 men and start removing debris that was left behind. As we speak, photos are being released to all of you through the internet, which you'll have digital photos of the damage that was there. I've also had the opportunity to view the so-called vault or the soundproof room in the basement. It is not a soundproof room. It is not a vault. It is a safe door about 6 foot high that is attached to 2x4s with an open ceiling in the basement like anybody's basement would be, unfinished inside. That's where the guns were allegedly stored. I also had the opportunity to view this doll that they made mention of by the prosecution or the police department. It's a collectible doll, and again, at some point in time, you have a photo of that Asa has collected for many, many years. It was in a wooden glass case that was there. Again, Asa would like me to express her thanks for the support she's received. She's going through a very difficult time emotionally. She's recovering each day, not only dealing with the cancer, but this newfound life that she has to come to terms with to protect herself and her children. The attorney for the children is here, Mr. Vespatev. I'd like him to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you all very much for coming. As you know, my firm represents the 2 children, Victoria and Christopher. They'd also like to say thank you to the public that's come out, to the donations, the people that have sent care packages, the people that have sent money, the people that have stopped by and given them well wishes. And we've spoken, I think, in the press for the last few days about why and how it's so important that this family has competent and capable legal representation. And Mr. Macedonio and his firm and my firm, obviously, we're going to keep doing that because they have, as we've said before, rights and liberties that need to be protected. Okay, they all have that. Asa has that. The children have that. As this investigation continues, obviously the district attorney's office is releasing new information every day, and it's going to be a very long process. So what they're asking you all to keep in mind that it's going to be a marathon, it's not a sprint. This is going to continue. This case is going to be a very long time in the making. And through that process, obviously, we've talked about in the past few days that the law requires them, in order to preserve those legal rights and remedies, to file certain legal documents at certain intervals. If they don't do that, they will have waived those rights in the public forum. So we are, at this point, announcing that the children and Ms. Ellerup, on her behalf, are going to be protecting those legal rights and remedies by filing what's called a notice of claim. That notice of claim is going to be filed within the next 30 days, and that obviously is a legal prerequisite to filing a lawsuit, and it has to be done because otherwise those rights are waived. And that's what's going to happen. When it happens, obviously we'll let you all know, we'll let you folks know what the content of it is, but that's the announcement that we have to make. In closing, I'd like to echo my colleagues' statements. At this time, the family again requests truly and honestly that their rights and liberties have to be protected, and a part of that, again, is that the focus is on their basic needs, their food, their water, their shelter, their clothing, okay? And that's their paramount concern right now. It is those basic human needs that all of us have that have been ripped apart from them. So we ask you again, please respect their privacy, please know that they're going through a horrific emotional time that none of us could imagine, and let the legal process run its course. Thank you. Vess, V-E-S-S, last name is Mitev, M-I-T-E-V. Again, that will be set forth in the notice of claim, but clearly it's going to be preserving the rights against law enforcement investigations and officials and investigators that were present at the scene. That's standard. Again, I wouldn't ask that you read into it too much, but that notice of claim is going to be filed. It's a legal prerequisite to filing a lawsuit, which they have to file in order to preserve their rights. Thank you.
Was the Nassau County Police Department involved in wrecking the house?
At this point in time, we're not sure what law enforcement were involved in actually entering the premises and which were involved with securing the streets and that. So we'll file the notice of claim. It'll probably list all the agencies. And then once the investigation's done, we'll narrow it down and see if there's any kind of lawsuit that can be proceeded after that. It was piled floor to ceiling with debris that was just taken out of the attics of every closet, every inch of the house. There was a path probably a foot or two wide to get from the front door to the kitchen, and that was the way through the house. The children and Asa were sleeping on really foam mats on the floor next to the dog bed where the dog was sleeping also. In addition, I forgot to mention there was 3 cats that were taken when the police executed the search warrant, taken to the animal shelter, local town of Oyster Bay Animal Shelter, which was going to euthanize them if they were not picked up by a certain time. We had those cats removed, voluntarily transported out to the Bayou, West Hampton, and they're going to be maintained there until they're adopted out by loving families.
Bob, Rex Heuermann pleaded not guilty. Does his family believe?
The only thing his family knows about these charges is what's been reported in the media. They have not discussed it with him, they haven't addressed it with him, and that's our instructions to them now. We haven't had that conversation. Frankly, it doesn't matter. I need to get Asa back to being mentally healthy, to protect herself and her own children. She has to prepare this for at least the next couple of years before this case is litigated in the courts. She has not visited him in the jail. No, they have not. We have not been contacted. That was prior to our representation if it happened, and we have not been consulted or contacted by law enforcement. And let me reiterate. Asa or the children are not suspects in this. I think the DA's office and the law enforcement has made that clear. They've stated on several occasions they were out of the jurisdiction when these alleged crimes took place. So she is not a suspect. She's not been questioned. She's not been accused of anything, of being an accomplice or any part associated with whatever her husband's accused of.
Mr. Macedonia, in light of the fact that Suffolk County has proven to frame people, do you think there's any possibility that Rex Heuermann has been framed?
So I'm not even going to address that. I'm not the law enforcement. I trust they're going to do their job diligently and professionally. So
But you just admitted they're lying.
Okay, you're assuming that all the allegations are true. So if the assumption of your question are true, he lived a complete double life. One of the photos that was released to you that you'll have momentarily will show the house at Christmas time with a Christmas tree and stockings hung by the fireplace at the alleged same time he's alleged to have gone out and committed these serial murders and buried the girls up in Gilgo. So if it happened, it was a complete double life. I assure you she knew nothing about it. They have been released already. You should have them. Your agency should all have them. They were sent out. Yes. the water is running, but the drain pipes, if you run the water, the sink just drops down and goes right down to the basement. There's no, but the plumbing has been repaired, or at least the sink's been repaired, working on the tub as we speak.
How often are you speaking with investigators? Have they been asking?
I have not spoken to investigators at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Are there any appointments made? Do they
No.
have to meet with them for
No.
any sort of evidence collection or anything else of any sort?
No.
If there was, would they be reaching out?
They have not reached out to us, so I can't assume what they would be doing. I'm sure they're running a professional investigation. I understand the grand jury is still impaneled, so that's their function, and we have not been reached out by them at all.
Have you talked to Asa about the fact that her DNA was at the crime scene? Did you have any?
Well, I think it's what's been said. They say a hair of her likeness was at the crime scene. I don't think they said DNA of hers was at the crime scene. So we
Potentially they say her hair.
of her likeness of hair. So I don't think the DNA has been proven to be hers at the crime scene.
That's her likeness. Okay.
Can you speak to her husband on the phone?
Sure.
We talked about how Asa is doing and she's cancer. Can you talk to me about how Victoria and Christopher are handling all of this?
Sure. Before that, I just want to piggyback off something Mr. Macedonio just said, and this goes back maybe 2 days, but this DNA order that was cut, okay, that's a very standard order in any kind of criminal prosecution. This was a order that was going to be granted no matter what, okay? Anytime you have a case involving DNA evidence, a buccal swab is quite standard. The state of, the laws of the state of New York are that you can be required, subject to your constitutional limitations, to provide what's called non-testimonial evidence, hair, materials, DNA. So that order was completely pro forma. I understand it was reported in the media as this groundbreaking, earth-shaking moment in the case, but it's not. It gets cut in every case, and if it wasn't ordered, it would have been immediately created an appealable issue. So back to your question, obviously, they're as we've said before, every moment that they spend in this waking, surreal nightmare, they have to keep reevaluating where they are, okay? Their valuables were shattered, their beds were destroyed, the places that they laid their heads down at night no longer exist. The reason that they spend so much time outside and why you folks photograph them on the porch is because they can't be inside. The house is in shambles. It's ransacked. It was run over through roughshod, okay? So it's not as if they don't want to be inside their house, but the conditions inside are deplorable, and they were left in a deplorable condition. So how are they doing? Again, we go back to what we need as humans. We need food, water, clothing, shelter, a roof over our heads, a place to lay our heads down at night. All of those things they were deprived of summarily, without any warning, and every day that goes by, again, kindness of strangers, and we appreciate that, they help get back a little bit of normalcy. But it's not going to be enough. Every dollar counts. Obviously, they have a long way to go. It's not going to be enough today. It's not going to be enough tomorrow. It's not going to be enough for months, maybe years. So in order to piece back what's been crumbled into a million pieces is going to take a very long time. And they need all that. And that's what humans need.
A murder case with multiple victims. Is now the appropriate time to talk about the condition of Heuermann's house?
It's absolutely the appropriate time to talk about the condition of Heuermann's house and the children. Again, they're innocent bystanders in this. And that's, again, we cannot stress that enough. Because of what has happened here, and it's of unimaginable magnitude, they're caught up in this. They're victims just as much. They disagree, or you might consider that there were horrific things that are alleged to have been happened, but an allegation and a conviction are quantum leaps apart. So yes, they are victims, and yes, they are innocent bystanders, and yes, their lives have been completely upended and turned upside down.
Can you speak about the relationship between the children and Rex? Were they close? Did they happen to take any family vacations? And if so, where did they go?
Again, I appreciate the question, and we thank you for it. We're not here to talk about that today. We're here to give you an update, disseminate some new photos, which I think will give you a better idea. A picture's worth 1,000 words, obviously, as to what the house was, what their life was like. It's contained in those pictures as well, but we're not going to talk about that. And obviously to announce that we are going to be exercising their legal rights and remedies by filing the notices of claim. Thank you.
Sorry, you cannot call the jail. The jails have to be outgoing only from the jail. So there's no.
Spoken over the phone?
They're spoken over the phone, yeah. Like I've stated, all those jail calls are recorded, so we've instructed her, and I'm sure his attorneys instructed him not to discuss the facts of the case. It just doesn't benefit either party.
So he's called her.
That's the only way the call could happen.
Has Officer Ellerup explained to you a reason for filing for divorce?
Of course, I discussed that with her, and at some point in time, she'll make a statement on why she feels it was appropriate to do that.
Attorney John Ray represents some of the victims connected to He's saying that Ellerup should be treated as a
Okay, Johnny Ray is trying to keep himself relevant in this case. He has a victim, and he's been on TV for the last 10 years trying to get any kind of press he can on this and make himself relevant in this case. I can assure you, Asa Ellerup and her 2 children are not suspects in this case. They shouldn't be suspects in this case. I wholeheartedly trust the DA's investigation that eliminated them. So I don't know what Johnny Ray's purpose is in doing that, but like I said, trying to keep himself relevant in this matter.
I know you said that they're not suspects in this case, but what can you say about how they're assisting in the investigation?
They're not assisting at all. We've never been contacted.
Is there any desire to do that? So if you're not suspects, would they want to go above and beyond to help?
Again, if this happened, it was a complete double life. They have no information to provide. But again, they're not suspects. They haven't been questioned. I do not believe they have any relevant information, or they would have been questioned already and called into the grand jury.
And they have nothing to offer investigation?
Complete double life.
I want to ask about the notice to claim. Her husband has told his lawyer he didn't do this. Do you believe it?
We haven't gotten to that discussion. We don't know what he told his lawyer. Like again, she hasn't had that conversation with him, and we instructed her not to.
Want to go back to the notice of claim for a second?
Yeah, she has not even asked him. We told her to ignore all that, ignore the media reports, things that are reported in the media. A soundproof room. Everybody reported that. That is not true. So everybody ran with that story that he had this sex dungeon downstairs in his house with a soundproof room where he was bringing prostitutes and murdering them and then burying them on Gilgo Beach. There is no soundproof room in that house. So we cannot believe everything that's been reported in the media. We've told her that and instructed her that to get herself mentally healthy, and so she could be there for her children who are suffering through this.
The notice of claim, what are the grounds for that? Can you tell us what you're going to be alleging in that?
There are certain rights that they have to protect within a 90-day period for notice of claim, the property damage that was done. If you don't file that notice of claim within 90 days, you lose the right to pursue it at a later date. So we're just going to protect those.
On a property damage.
It's just going to protect those rights, and that's it.
Based on
Whether or not a lawsuit will be pursued will be addressed later on. But you have to file a notice of claim within the 90-day period, or you waive it. Okay. No, I do not.
All right, you've been listening in here to this update from the attorneys for the wife and the kids of Rex Heuermann, the suspect in the Gilgo Beach murders, charged in 3 of them, a prime suspect in a 4th. This is the first time that we've heard from the family attorneys at all so far throughout this investigation. We also heard the attorney for Asa Ellerup, his wife who has filed for divorce, that she is battling cancer, was among some of the details that were released there in that news conference. We're going to be speaking more about this with Fox News correspondent Nate Foy coming up around 11:45 Pacific, 2:45 Eastern. So that's coming up here in the next 10-15 minutes or so. In the meantime, let's take a quick commercial break. Much more to come on this very busy Friday. We'll see you back right after this.